Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor episode number 185 based on novel. So let's start. I didn't expect that even you, the immortal, came here. Seeing that in the sky, Zhu Jin couldn't help but not die, but instead led out Fen Tian, the strongest person in the Funxiang Pavilion, and said gloomily immediately. However, although Zhu Jin was not dead, at the last moment, being affected by such a powerful blow from Xian Xin's close-range explosion wave was extremely uncomfortable. The bloodstains all over his body had proved this. You did a good job, then leave it to me. Let's go down. Fen Tian turned his head and said to Zhu Jin, and then a trace of awe-inspiring murderous aura suddenly appeared on his gentle face. Fenchen, old dog. I remember the hatred back then. You killed so many of my children. This time, let's do the math. When Xian Xin saw Fen Tian appearing, not only did he not retreat, but he was overjoyed. After so many years of confrontation with Funxiang Pavilion, if you don't even know that Funxiang Pavilion is naturally vigilant, you will be a dignified and powerful immortal warrior. Therefore, what seemed to be a powerful blow from Saint Yanzi just now was actually just Xuanxin's means to force Fen Tian to appear. And every time I think of the fact that Fen Tian killed so many bloodlines of the Shenling royal family, I can't help but have blue veins. Kill my disciple, you deserve it. If it wasn't for being persuaded by the powerhouses of other super sects, where would there still be your Shenling royal family today? Fen Tian heard the words, a trace of pain flashed in his pupils, even though he didn't want to bring it up. Quickly fight and decide quickly, you all go to find Yang Kai, and leave this profound heart to me to deal with. Yang Kai should be in this underground palace. It may be that these guys used some unknown means, so they were hidden. Fen Tian said to a group of strong people behind him. Go. The 7th floor of the underground palace was extremely wide, and then the other powerhouses also moved. Yenmu. Seeing Ling Mengsheng and the others moving, Fen Tian snorted softly. Suddenly, the dark space was illuminated by the flames on Fen Tian's body, and even on Fen Tian's body, a dazzling fiery red flame slowly rose, hovering above the two of them. However, as the flames lit up, on the wall of the 7th floor of the underground palace, there were actually some ghostly reflections that appeared on it, but even Fen Tian didn't notice it. Unexpectedly, that beast, Yang Kai, also gave you Saint Yanzi fire. Don't worry, we have found a way to devour him. Although you came to break my plan this time, but it can make the power of the top of the Funxiang Pavilion fall, I feel relieved when I think of it. And you broke into our Shenling royal family's massacre several times back then. Today, you should return it. At the corner of Xuanxin's mouth, a mysterious and sinister power emerged, and then the power of the fiery red holy flame emerged. Down, insight slowly. What can I do at the mid-level of 1-star fighting immortal? Seeing this, Fen Tian couldn't help but sneer, and then his eyes fixed on Xian Xin. He, Fen Tian, who is at the level of 1-star Dozian perfection. Seeing Fen Tian being so arrogant, Xian Xin immediately disapproved and spoke. Fen Tian naturally broke through to the level of a 2-star Dozian, but just in case, Fen Tian still only has the perfection level of a 1-star Dozian. A black river. Looking at the two people who were constantly talking in midair, Ling Mengsheng and the others were not idle either, and under the light of Fenshen's flame, they headed towards the depths of the 7th floor of the underground palace. Just as the body invaded the black river, a gloomy feeling that penetrated the heart suddenly emerged from the bottom of my heart. This black river seems to devour our power of life and death. Mu Shuzi frowned, sensing the difficulty of the black river. What is that? But the next moment, Shen Muqing raised his hand slightly, pointed to a silver-white statue not far from the crowd, and said slowly. At first glance, this silver-white statue seems to give people a sense of insignificance, as if the power contained in this silver-white statue is extremely huge, as if standing erect in an ancient time. Taking a closer look, this silver-white statue has a clear outline and a conspicuous body, which clearly looks like a human figure. This thing. Ling Mengsheng couldn't help muttering as he looked at the strange silver-white statue. I remember. The founder of the Shenling royal family seems to be like this, right? After a while, the young man beside him suddenly said. Founder of the Shenling royal family? Xian Muqing heard the words and couldn't help but glanced at it a few more times. Indeed, when Xian Muqing looked at the silver-white statue in front of his pupils, he clearly felt an innate urge breath. That breath seems to come from the same bloodline. In other words, the silver-white statue in front of him seems to be the founder of the Shenling royal family, just as Qing Laro said. Why don't I know? Xian Muqing couldn't help but say something. It's normal that you don't know this. It is said that the founder of the Xianling royal family has the strength of a 2-star fighting immortal. However, the founder of the Xianling royal family rushed to the Medusa family in order to find some secrets. At the beginning of Shentian Santian's establishment, the Medusa family was a real overlord in Zhuangtianshan because of the existence of some strong people with pure Medusa blood. So I don't know why the founder of the Xianling royal family would deal with Queen Medusa single-handedly, but it is said that it was completely sealed by Queen Medusa's petrified pupil. I think, if this rumor is true, I'm afraid the one in front of us is the sealed stone statue of the founder of the Xianling royal family. Ling Mengsheng thought for a while before slowly speaking. That is to say, in the stone statue in front of you, is the founder of the Xianling royal family? The one who is comparable to the 2-star fighting immortal? When he heard Ling Mengsheng's words, even Mu Shuzi, who was always calm, couldn't help but speak. Half-immortals can already be regarded as the mainstays of the entire Shentian 3 days. It is not uncommon for a half-immortal strong man to support a sect. As for the real Dozian, every sect with Dozian is a leader among the super sect. As for the 2-star Dozian, I am afraid it is enough to dominate Shen Santian. It should be. At this time, the 2 elders of heaven and earth also spoke slowly. The space above the silver-white statue seems to have collapsed a little, and there should be something unusual. After a while, Rimu Sheng's sharp pupils seemed to have caught the unusual space above the silver-white statue, and he spoke immediately. Go and have a look. Everyone heard the words and nodded secretly. After Ling Mengsheng said this, it was indeed a bit strange that his footsteps set foot on the silver-white statue of the Black River. It seems that this fellow Shenshin has the will to kill Fen Tian. But it's no wonder that this Fen Tian was the 3rd emperor of the Xianling royal family, and he was an uneasy, ruthless man who beat the Xianling royal family. Remember that Fen Tian's strength was only at the level of a 9-star Do emperor, and the cause of the incident seems to be because their Xianling royal family accidentally killed Fen Tian's adopted son. Behind the silver-white statue, in an inconspicuous place, the ghost of the night. Xian said slowly, and as Dark Knight Guoxian's voice just fell, Fen Tian and Shen Xin's attacks started slowly. Go ahead. Back then, for the sake of Fenxiang Pavilion, I didn't kill your culprit with my own hands. On the outline of Fen Tian Juanxiu's face, a ferocious flicker flashed. Obviously, every time he thinks of that scene, even Fen Tian can't help but feel pain. The guy who fell into the hands of the Xianling royal family was Fen Tian's adopted son by chance. After this adopted son was adopted by Fen Tian, his cultivation speed has increased by leaps and bounds, and he has a faint momentum of surpassing Fen Tian. After Fen Tian found out, he was devastated. At that time, he happened to be the pavilion master of Fenxiang Pavilion. For this reason, he did not hesitate to go to the Xianling royal family 3 times, beheading many senior members of the Xianling royal family, and finally the 9 superpowers. The strong man of the sect appeared, and just then shook Fen Tian back. However, the truth about the fact that the Xianling royal family wiped out Fen Tian's adopted son is still in the dark. That bastard, if you die, you will die. Haven't you been looking for the truth of his fall all these years? Don't worry, you will go down to accompany him soon. After Shen Xin finished speaking, the corners of his mouth trembled slightly, and then a spooky black gas burst out from the dazzling fiery red Saint Yenzi fire. The black chi just appeared, and the black water in the river below suddenly made a wailing cry, resounding through the entire space. Ghost secrets, burst. Shen Xin's pupils also had a trace of black aura, and then burst out. The next moment, Shen Xin's strength suddenly skyrocketed. 1-star fighting immortal middle stage. 1-star fighting immortal late stage. It actually skyrocketed from the middle stage of 1-star fighting immortal to the later stage of 1-star fighting immortal. This time, I'm afraid the gap between us will not be that huge. Shen Xin finished all this. The breath in his body was not only gloomy and eerie, but also the scorching holiness of Shengyanzi Huo. Quite odd. It's actually a ghost. It seems that over the years, your Xianling royal family has done a lot of good things behind the scenes. Fen Tian's eyes exuded a hint of vigilance, and then he spoke. Everything is nonsense. Today, as long as you can completely kill you, then your burning incense pavilion will sooner or later become a lost dog. Shen Xin's strength skyrocketed, and his words were full of confidence. That may not be the case. Fen Tian didn't hesitate when he saw this. His pure white palm was gently raised, and an extremely terrifying flame aura poured into it. Heavenly flame hand. With a soft call, the holy flame fire in the body also burst out, and then attached to the palm of the hand. The speed skyrocketed, and it swept away directly at Xianxin. Xianling Golden Hand. Seeing this, Xianxin was also unwilling to be outdone. The dazzling Saint Yanzi fire and the gloomy ghostly energy instantly swept over his palm, and then a red-black force wrapped his palm and attacked Fen Tian. Resist away. Boom. A loud noise suddenly rang out in the middle of this space, and sparks flew in all directions. Fatty and the space surrounded by darkness added a lot of color. The fiery red power on Fenxian's palm shot directly below, and Xuanxin's red and black palm was also stubbornly resisting, and no one would let anyone. Bang bang bang. After a while, the two waves of fluctuations dissipated instantly, and then Fen Tian and Xianxin took a step back at the same time. This is actually so powerful. Even if I use Ghost World secret techniques to improve my strength, I'm afraid I'm not a match for this guy. Xianxin couldn't help thinking. The fight with Zhu Jin just now has already caused him to lose a lot of strength. Although his strength is skyrocketing now, he is still somewhat different from Fen Tian. The strength of this guy's body is floating. It seems that there should be some hidden secrets with the Ghost World. After Fen Tian finished speaking, a majestic flame power flashed in his pupils. Xianxin, suffer to death. After Fen Tian finished speaking, the fiery red flames swept out directly from the whole body, and immediately wrapped most of the space. The next moment, Xianxin only felt an extremely powerful suppression coming, and then secretly shouted, "Not good. This guy has actually been born out of the realm." After Xianxin finished speaking, intense anxiety flickered in her pupils. The realm, the real killer of an immortal warrior. Being in the realm, the enemy can cut me and be strong. It can be said to be the real symbol of a strong fighting immortal. Bingo. The reward is send you to hell. Fen Tian held a fiery red flame in his hand, and then looked down at Xianxin from a height below zero. That breath was like the overlord of heaven and earth, supreme. Yenyu, burn me. After a while, a serious look appeared in Fenxian's pupils, and then a flame in his hand slowly turned into a sharp blazing blade. Above the giant blade, a terrifying wave that destroys all things is slowly born. You want to kill me just because of this? Although Xianxin was in Fen Tian's domain, his strength was suppressed a lot, but at this time, his strength was also a powerhouse in the late stage of one-star fighting immortal. The huge sword light also flashed out. However, just as Xianxin was preparing to deal with Fen Tian's attack in the underground palace, behind a very hidden rock, a man with heavy feet on his back gently closed his eyes. The power of the soul like a vast ocean poured out silently towards Xian. Crash. The invisible soul attack hit Xianxin instantly. Xianxin's attack instantly shattered, and then a trace of blood appeared in his pupils. Obviously this soul attack brought him a lot of load. Soul attack. Who is Fen Tian? Naturally, he knows that by suppressing his aura and using the strength of one-star fighting immortal perfection, it is not difficult to kill Xianxin, but if he wants to kill him with one blow, it is somewhat impossible. However, with this sudden attack of the soul, Xianxin's attack and defense fell short, and there was a vague chance of one-hit kill. This kid really won't let people live in peace. But that's enough. Fen Tian laughed. As for the person who attacked his soul, he naturally guessed who it was. Xianxin was hit by a sudden soul attack, so the brewing attack and defense collapsed in an instant. At this time, Xianxin could not wait to smash the guy who launched the soul attack into tens of thousands of pieces. But before Xianxin went mad, in that domain, Fen Tian's figure was as fast as a ghost, flashing rapidly, and at the same time, in the palm of his hand, he even carried a palm-sized dagger. The dagger's body exudes a strange cold light, which seems to be extremely ordinary, but Xianxin's pupils shrink tightly, and the fear of death suddenly fills his heart. The third among the top 10 immortal weapons, the Ghost Destruction Dagger. Looking at the exquisite and small dagger engraved with many obscure runes on the palm of Fen Tian's hand, Xianxin felt a violent uneasiness. Immediately exclaimed. In the Xiantian 3 days, it is well known that there are 10 powerful men, and after the 10 powerful men, there are 10 famous immortal weapons. The power of these immortal weapons is quite extraordinary, and even some of the top 5 immortal weapons are said to have the power to destroy the strong immortals. And this ghost-destroying dagger is the third-ranked immortal among the top 10 immortal weapons. The ghost-destroying dagger, as its name suggests, is made of extremely precious cold ice black iron. Even if it is an immortal warrior, it cannot be destroyed. Moreover, the method of making this ghost-destroying dagger has been lost for many years, but it is in the slightest does not affect the prestige of this thing. But what is really frightening is because of the destructive power in this dagger of annihilation. Invisible search, the terrifying force that destroys everything. It's time to end. Fen Tian grasped the ghost destruction dagger in his hand, his speed skyrocketed to the limit, and he stabbed him directly in the throat. This is bad. Xian Xin watched Fen Tian's powerful attack coming, and couldn't help but a mysterious look of panic appeared in his pupils. The attack that he had just brewed was directly defeated by the unknown bastard. At this time, he could only rely on instinct to make some defenses, but for Fen Tian, this defense was like a child's play. Behind a hidden rock on the 7th floor of the underground palace, a man with heavy feet on his back spurted out a mouthful of blood, his face turned pale. Xiao Yang, are you all right? Mu Yingying on the side couldn't help but asked worriedly. Haha, I'm fine. Xiao Yang wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and opened his mouth slightly. The soul attack just now was naturally sent by Xiao Yang. Although Xian Xin's attack and defense were successfully stopped in the end, Xiao Yang was not feeling well. After all, the powers of the two were vastly different. Xiao Yang's ability to use his soul power was indeed effective, but all of this was Fen Tian's cover. Even so, Xiao Yang couldn't bear the power that Xian Xin bounced back. Your brother's breath. Are you still here? Xiao Yang asked. Here I am. It should be right behind that silver stone statue. Mu Yingying said, and then her eyes flashed with tenderness. Be careful, you can act as soon as possible. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, the place was quiet. Die. Fen Tian held the ghost destruction dagger in his hand, and his figure flickered like an ethereal spirit. He came to Xian Xin in an instant, and then his wrist was slightly twisted, and he skillfully stabbed towards Xian Xin's throat. Dark Knight, save me. Upon realizing this scene, Xian Xin didn't dare to be careless, because the guy's murderous aura seemed to make Xian Xin unable to help himself. Dong dong dong. As Xian Xin's voice just fell, suddenly, the burning heaven-destroying ghost dagger seemed to have stabbed into something extremely solid, and it didn't come at all. At this time, Fen Tian's ghost destruction dagger was only a thumb away from Xuanxin's throat. If it was a step forward, there was no doubt that the ghost destruction dagger would pierce Xuanxin's throat. I've heard about Xuantian's famous Fenshin for a long time, but when I see it now, my name is well deserved. A slightly eerie and gloomy aura slowly sounded, and at the same time, Xuanxin's throat blocked Fenshin's attack. Dark to the extreme black air slowly surrounds. People from the ghost world? Fen Tian saw a mysterious powerhouse appearing beside Xian Xin. He immediately put away the ghost destruction dagger without any hesitation, then stepped back a few steps and looked at Xian Xin's side vigilantly. That mysterious man. At this moment, this mysterious man, with a pitch-black ghostly energy like flowing gas, kept turning on the surface around him, and his entire body was covered by a huge black robe. However, this was the case, and Fen Tian also vaguely sensed that the mysterious man in black robe in front of him was also an immortal warrior. Seeing that the crisis was over, Xian Xin coughed violently a few times, and then looked at Fen Tian slightly. Fenshin, old dog, can't you think of it? Xuanxin's voice was full of indescribable laughter. It's really unexpected. But if you think that you can deal with me by adding a 1-star dose yarn, it would be too ridiculous. On Fen Tian's palm, the ghost-destroying dagger slowly turned, and every time it turned, it would carry a huge murderous aura. Dark Knight Ghost, let's do it. As long as this guy is killed, the things you need afterward will naturally be indispensable. Xian Xin said hideously. Dark Knight Ghost. You actually have an affair with the ghosts of the ghost world? This is a big taboo for our Xian San Tian, Fen Tian said with a face change in an instant when he heard the words. Based on Fen Tian's experience, the 3 ghost immortals entrenched in the ghost realm outside Shentian San have heard of them. And don't worry, if you all die, no one will know. After Xian Xin finished speaking, a monstrous smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Dark Knight Ghost in the lower ghost world. Hay-robed Ghost stared at Fen Tian and said softly. Dark Knight Ghost Immortal and Xian Xin did have some cooperation, so they came to rescue after Xian Xin exited. Moreover, the entrance to the ghost world of Xian Santian is still under seal. If it wasn't for Xian Xin's secret help, I'm afraid the ghost fairy in the Dark Knight wouldn't be able to enter. Humph. Seeing this, Fen Tian couldn't help snorting coldly. Judging from the strength of this black-robed ghost immortal, he should also be a powerhouse at the level of 1-star Doshian perfection. A powerhouse at this level, I'm afraid it's not easy to deal with. Dark Knight, let's do it, you and I, grab Fen Tian. Xian Xin thought for a while, still worried, and immediately said it do. Bang bang bang. As soon as the voice fell, the power of Sheng Yan's fire instantly extinguished on Xian Xin's body, replaced by a heavy ghost chi, and the ghost chi also swept out of Dark Knight Ghost Immortal. It's troublesome now. Seeing this, Fen Tian couldn't help but become vigilant. In order to hide his own strength, Fen Tian's strength is only 1-star Dozian perfection, but if he wants to use this power to deal with the same 1-star Dozian perfection Dark Knight Ghost Immortal and 1-star Dozian's midstage Shenshin, it will be a little difficult. When the Shenling royal family fought in the underground palace, Wenzi also told Shenling King the news of Dong Shen's fall, and then Shenling King was alone and slowly came to the 6th floor of the underground palace, where he waited quietly. It seems that Dong Shen has indeed fallen, and even the mother of the fairy body tree has been taken away. But it's fine. I hope the people in Burning Incense Pavilion will not disappoint me. When the time comes, let you all spit out these things. King Shenling didn't bring anyone this time, only himself and the source power of that blood demon. Bloody and bloody, extremely evil. Shoot. Shenshin and Dark Knight Guizian said in unison, and then the two figures burst out. Although the two of them are still in the fire domain of Burning Heaven at this time, their strength has been suppressed to a certain extent, but for the two of them, it is naturally nothing. Moreover, the two knew that once Fen Tian and his party were able to find Yang Kai and destroy the seal, they would be in trouble. The power of destruction. Seeing this, Fen Tian couldn't help urging the ghost-killing dagger in his hand, and then on top of the ghost dagger, an unusually turbulent brown power of destruction was slowly born. Dong dong dong. Fen Tian also knew that he had to stop the two people in front of him, otherwise Ju Jin and the others would be in danger, so he directly activated the power of destruction on the ghost destruction dagger and attacked them. I'm coming. The brown power of destruction just rushed towards the two of them, and the black-robed Dark Knight ghost snorted coldly, and then the strange ghost energy all over his body left his body and turned into a lion head in the sky, facing Fen Tian's destruction. Attack away. Crash. A series of voices resounded in the field. The next moment, Fen Tian's figure disappeared in mid-air in an instant, and when the speed flickered, Dark Knight Guizian and Shen Xin, who had already appeared on the ground, flickered in his hand and stabbed them with force. Go. Bang bang bang. Destroying the ghost dagger is indeed a powerful immortal weapon. One blow stabs the ghostly chi of the ghost in the Dark Knight, and the pressure on the ghost in the Dark Knight increases greatly, and even the ghost chi above the black robe is weakened. Not a lot. Bastard. While resisting the power of destruction in the mid-air, Dark Knight Ghost Immortal had to defend against Fen Tian's sudden attack, and was immediately attacked on both sides. At this time, Shen Xin stared coldly at Fen Tian, who was using the ghost destruction dagger in front of him. The constant ghost energy in his body kept resisting Fen Tian. If Shen Xin hadn't resisted Fen Tian from behind, I'm afraid that Fen Tian's hand would first use the power of destroying the ghost dagger to block the Dark Knight Ghost, and then launch an attack in Du, which would make any of them unable to eat and go. Fortunately, they are two, not one. It's almost time for the fast to end. Glancing at Zhu Jin and the few people behind, Shen Xin noticed which of them had gone to the silver statue, and immediately spoke. Because above the silver statue, it is the place where Yang Kai is sealed. It is only a matter of time until you see through that veil and find Yang Kai. Dark Knight, do it. It can't be delayed any longer. Shen Xin's pupils flashed a strange look, and then he spoke. The more he knew about Fen Tian, the more Shen Xin knew, this guy is definitely not as simple as he seems. Although his adopted son fell into the hands of the Shenling royal family, Fen Tian, relying on his status as the pavilion master of the Funxiang Pavilion and the mere strength of the Jiuxingdo Emperor, forced the three top Shenling royal family to put many of their Shenling royal family strong to be beheaded, so the defense against Fen Tian is extremely vigilant at this time. Okay. Gui Ming Shui. Dark Knight Guizian nodded. He also felt an extremely terrifying aura from Fen Tian's body, and that aura even vaguely touched the level of a 2-star fighting immortal. Although the 1-star Dozian complete powerhouse is powerful, compared with the 2-star Dozian, it is tantamount to being much weaker. As the voice of Dark Knight Guizian just fell, at the bottom of the huge cave, those black rivers suddenly trembled slightly, and immediately turned into an extremely rich black giant pillar under the eyes of everyone. Above the black giant pillar, a dark ghost aura like blood appeared on it, slowly wrapping the entire pillar. Ads by Pub Future. And those water liquids even formed some extremely obscure black runes. The black runes are intricate, giving people a strange feeling. And with the appearance of the black and gloomy pillar, the black river beneath the cave disappeared completely. Apparently all of it was injected into it. However, the entire space is filled with a feeling of gloomy wind. What a bizarre method. The group of Zhu Jin, who were already standing on top of the silver statue, said slowly. With their perception, they were able to feel a terrifying fluctuation from the huge black pillar below. If they were eroded by this pillar, I am afraid that with the strength of their fighting emperors, they would be suppressed in an instant. That's too late. The pavilion master should be able to handle it. I feel that Yankai is near us. We must rescue Yankai as soon as possible, and then get out of here. Zhu Jin's face showed a serious look, and then on the palm of his hand, a very weak khaki flame slowly rose. This is also holy flame. Ling Mengsheng couldn't help but said when he saw this. No, this fluctuation seems to be much weaker, not even the holy flame fire. After a while, Ling Mengsheng shook his head directly. This thing was taken from Xiao Yang. Huaxin Tianyang has some characteristics, so it is suitable to use it to sense other holy flames. Zhu Jin said. I have the fiery Saint Yanzi fire, so I don't need to be so troublesome. After Ling Mengsheng finished speaking, he directly activated the Saint Yanzi fire in his body, but there was no response. Seeing this scene, Rimu couldn't help but murmur. The Xianling royal family should have some special means to seal Yankai, so relying on Yanqi's own holy flame power cannot be found. Only rely on the attraction between holy flames. Zhu Jin said, but did not speak. But after a while, a trace of worry appeared in Zhu Jin's pupils. Old Zhu, what's wrong? Tian Laro asked when he saw Zhu Jin suddenly stop moving. I always feel that everything went too smoothly. And after so long, no one in the Xianling royal family has found out. This is obviously unreasonable, and since we entered the underground palace, everything has been smooth sailing. I'm afraid. After Zhu Jin finished speaking, his face suddenly became solemn. Stand up. Could it be a conspiracy? Mu Shuzi said thoughtfully after hearing this. I don't know, but what I know is that King Xianling seems to be very dissatisfied with Shenshin. Because on the surface, although King Xianling is presiding over the royal family of Xianling, in fact, some of King Xuanling's decisions will still be rejected by the previous Xianling king, Shenshin, so I think. People from the Xianling royal family haven't shown up for a long time. I'm afraid it has something to do with King Xianling. Tian Laro suddenly said. This King Xianling is a ruthless person. Hearing this, Zhu Jin opened his mouth slightly, obviously not surprised that Tian Laro knew these secrets. Let's start. Yankai should be near here, and the space around here has some signs of distortion. Tian Laro Zaidu said, and then everyone followed the faint source of holy flame power in Zhu Jin's hand. On the other side of this huge cave, the Dark Knight ghosts, Shenshin and Fenshin in the fire domain, plus the huge black pillar that was just formed, it seems that the battle has also reached a white-hot stay. What a gloomy aura. Fen Tian, who was in his own domain, directly dispelled his attack, put away the dagger, and stared vigilantly at the ghost in the Dark Knight. Fen Tian naturally knew very well about the ghosts of the Dark Knight. They are connected to a certain continent in the ghost world 3 days away. The continent is called the Blood River continent, and it is also a high-level plane, but because there are many disputes in the ghost world, and resources are scarce on this continent, so the ghosts entrenched on this continent are very important to Shen Santian. This very fertile land is very jealous. On the Blood River continent, the strongest are the 3 ghost immortals. The 3 ghost immortals tried their best to devour their Xianling continent. Fortunately, they were discovered by the powerhouses of Shen Santian. Set up a seal at the junction with the Blood River continent to prevent the invasion of ghosts. But even so, the seal was loosened a little under the succession of countless ghosts. In this regard, every few thousand years, the 3 ghost immortals on the Blood River continent in the ghost world attacks Wantianshan with countless ghosts. However, after so many years, no matter how fierce the 3 ghost immortals on the Blood River continent attacked, they were stopped by the supersect of Shen Santian, although the supersect of Shen Santian also paid a heavy price. And the Dark Knight ghost in front of him is one of the 3 ghosts on the Blood River continent. Although it ranks last, no one dares to underestimate it. After all, this guy's strength is comparable to that of a human being at the level of perfection. Burning the sky. Dare to take a blow from me. At this time, in the realm, Dark Knight Ghost Immortal was surrounded by black robes, and the voices of mourning continued to echo, and then Dark Knight Ghost Immortal directly dragged the huge black pillar, facing Fen Tian. Open your mouth slowly. Page, why don't you dare? Fen Tian snorted coldly, and then spoke directly, without concealing the domineering in his voice. Ghost Blood Pillar. Suppress this immortal. As soon as the voice fell, the Dark Knight Ghost's ferocious voice resounded throughout the formation. With the Dark Knight Ghosts drinking so loudly, on top of the black giant pillars, a stream of black liquid like bubbles kept squirming, extremely strain. Not long after, the huge black pillar was actually under the control of Dark Knight Ghost Immortal, and shot towards Fen Tian who was in the realm. Wherever the black pillar passed, even Fen Tian's comprehension was faint. Trembling, as if it would shatter at any moment. Ghost Blood Pillar? Good guy. Remember that this attack was actually killing a fighting fairy from a certain sect in Shentian. Xianxin, who was on the side, was obviously unable to deal with Fen Tian. At this time, he could only watch the attack of Dark Knight Ghost Immortal and slapped his tongue in praise. Road. Gui Ming Blood Pillar. Fen Tian spoke slowly, in his own domain, and Fen Tian knew every move of the Dark Knight Ghost Immortal and Xianxin below. When the black giant pillar just appeared, Fen Tian felt an extremely majestic ghost energy from it. Ghost Qi is a kind of power that only ghosts can cultivate and condense. It is similar to Emperor Qi and the power of life and death, but Ghost Qi is more gloomy. If it enters the human body, it will undoubtedly erode human strength and form dark wounds, resulting in strength not forward. With the urging of the ghosts of the Dark Knight, the black giant pillar turned into a ghostly blood pillar. Naturally, Fen Tian had already heard about the reputation of the ghost blood pillar. The next moment, watching the attack that swept towards him slowly, Fen Tian's pupils exuded an extremely hot wave, and then the corner of his mouth smiled slightly. Although the ghost blood column is powerful, it is. You want to suppress me with this? It seems unlikely. When Fenxian's last word just fell, in the entire field, the fiery red flame of Shengyanzi Huo suddenly erupted from Fenxian's body, and Fenxian at this time was like a volcano erupting. Holy flame fire! Holy flame spirit! After a while, Fenxian gave off a strange smile as the field was filled with the power of the scorching holy flame, and then those fiery red flames turned out to be in the Dark Knight Ghost Fairy and Shenyuan. In the case of stunned, slowly began to merge together. This guy's understanding of Shengyanzi Huo is actually so deep. Rao Yishuan Xin's arrogance, seeing Fen Tian's methods, he couldn't help but say. Xianxin is naturally a fire attribute cultivator, but for Xianxin, who also possesses the fire of Saint Yenzi, if he wants to achieve this step of burning the sky, it will take a lot of time. Gathering spirits. After a while, Fen Tian's majestic voice slowly emanated from his comprehension. And with Fenxian like this, the flames slowly fused together, and then formed a huge flame lion with a body of 100 meters in size. The flaming giant lion has a silver appearance, strong and powerful limbs, and the huge power that is looming, so that the strong immortal warriors dare not underestimate it, but the only drawback is that the giant lion's eyes are closed. The flame giant lion was just formed, and the power of Fenxian's domain was greatly weakened. Obviously, Fenxian used a lot of power in order to condense this guy. It seems that the Funxiang Pavilion's pavilion master's use and perception of flames is deeper than mine. Xiao Yang took Mu Yingying to hide to the side. Seeing Fenxian doing this, he couldn't help but be surprised. Because Fen Tian is not a pharmacist, and to form such a powerful flame creature, he relies on real power, and Xiao Yang may also be able, but it relies on soul power. Besides, even if Xiao Yang fuses, the power compared with the flame giant lion in front of him, it is also much weaker. Just as Xiao Yang was looking at the giant flaming lion in the sky wholeheartedly, the blue flames suddenly burst out of Mu Yingying's body uncontrollably, and immediately sent out a very strange aura towards the void above the silver statue. And Mu Yingying felt this strange aura couldn't help turning her beautiful eyes, then looked at the slightly collapsed void above the silver statue, and muttered at the corner of her mouth, "Where has a brother's breath?" On the other side, this guy. Seeing this, Dark Knight Ghost Immortal's face hidden under the black robe couldn't help beating violently. The flame giant lion continued to be under a lot of pressure. After all, with Dark Knight Ghost Immortal's perception, naturally it was not it is difficult to find that this flaming giant lion is not only condensed by the holy flame fire in Fen Tian's body, but also seems to have the power of the domain, plus Fen Tian's understanding of flames. But in this regard, Dark Knight Ghost also snorted coldly, obviously ready to gamble. Although Fenxian's flaming giant lion is powerful, his own attack may not necessarily be loss. The anger of the flame lion. Fen Tian smiled confidently, a mouthful of bright red blood suddenly poured into the flame giant lion's body, and then the flame giant lion's pupils slowly opened, like an ancient primordial beast slowly awakening. As the flame giant lion's pupils opened, everyone on the 7th floor of the underground palace, including the Dark Knight Ghost Master, felt a vague aura of heaven and earth, and the emanator of this aura was the flame giant in front of him. Lion. Boom boom boom. The flame giant lion opened his pupils, and then looked at the gloomy ghost pillar, and without waiting for Fen Tian to speak, he jumped suddenly, and swept away directly towards the ghost blood pillar. This video will end here.